Welcome back to the garage, guys. You know I'm going to ask you, just go ahead and smash that like button right now for me and we'll get started. In the last video I said I was going to be selling my pan, and while it took a little longer than I would have liked, I finally found someone to buy it from me. I'll skip the hour or so long conversation we had. Let's just say, in the end, he was happy to get the pan and I was happy for the extra room in the garage. Hey, did you smash that like button yet? You know I'm not really interested in building anything. I just do it all for the likes and subscribes. It's true. Anyway, guys, I'm Damien. This is the Binder Builder. Glad to have you back. In the last video, I really did kind of give the plan of attack for the tube chassis. In this video, I'm just going to build it. And that meant a quick trip to Little Rock for some metal. Once I paid in the front, I headed around to the back for pickup. I've got to say it's nice to have a decent metal supplier relatively close by. There it is, my new pan. I didn't think it would fit in the sport wagon. And with the old pan out of the way, I was happy to clean up around the bug. Let me show you what I can do with this 2x6, and it's pretty sweet. The 2x6 literally just mounts right up onto the bottom of this chassis. Okay, so obviously 6x6 goes right up in. It's going to be perfect. All I got to do is drill the holes and I could literally bolt it right in. That'd just be awesome. But not just that, then I have a nice sturdy place to bring tube off of. So tube up here where the A pillar sits, tube back here where the B pillar is, and I could put tube wherever I want my seats to sit. It makes everything good. I also like that this 2-inch brings the body down, or body up, and brings the floor down, so I have more headroom and sit lower in the car. That may or may not be a good thing. I can always adjust the height of my seats, no big deal, but that gives me more room to do whatever I want to do. So that's the overall plan. Now let me show you what this looks like on the outside. Now on the outside of the bug, you can see that I have a 1-inch overhang that comes out. Now, if I do decide to go with some Nerf bars or some tube work out on the side, this will be a wonderful base to bring it off of. So yeah, so those are some of my thoughts and ideas on that. Now it's going to take a whole lot of cutting, welding, and figuring everything out to make this piece actually bolt to the body like I want it to. Wish me luck. Because this harebrained scheme of mine requires some kind of cutting that's not easily done with my trusty bandsaw, I hit the road to pick up a few things. Alright guys, some of you saw this coming, but this week I made a couple of purchases because I'm going to be making some super long and difficult cuts to make if you just have a bench grinder. And so the first hint is that some guy online had a couple of these rigs, got it for about 150 bucks. Cheap, yes. Small, extremely. I will be, I don't have a whole lot of room, but eventually I'll get the 60-gallon, the big stand-up air compressor, but for now that'll do. Now eventually I'll probably clear the motor out of that corner next to the water heater and put a big 60-gallon in, but this 20-gallon air compressor will have to do for now. But what really kind of cool came was this. All right. Well, I gotta tell you, kind of went out on a limb buying a cheap plasma, but hopefully it works out for me. We'll see. I'll do a proper video for the Yes Welder Cut 65DS, but here's a quick unboxing and setup with some groovy background music. After unboxing, I swapped out the air fittings, basically just your standard Harbor Freight air fittings and hose. Then I tested for leaks with some soapy water, and after tightening everything up, I continued with the assembly. Now that's done, it's time to double check my measurements with a bit more accuracy. Basically, I'm measuring the lengths of all the straight areas of the body. And if you're counting, there's 8 of them. Then I needed to find the angles where the lengths meet. To do that, I got this sweet little angle finder from, I think it was Home Depot. I transferred all of the marks to the underside so I could get the measurements I was looking for. After that, I needed to find some spacing on the holes where the stock pan bolted to the body. Once that was done, I cleaned the tube, marked the first cut line, and got to cutting. Then I transferred the bolt hole spacing to the box and drilled it out. I did check the size of the stock body bolts to ensure I was making my holes slightly oversized. I've had a little change of heart, so to speak. So initially I had the 2x6s, right? I was just going to cut it in half and have 2 triangles. One to do one side of the bug, one to do the other side of the bug. And then I started thinking to myself, you know, I kind of want a little more beef underneath there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2x6. I'm going to still cut it on one side completely, right? This top corner, so to speak. But then I'm going to come in an inch or 2 and then have a shorter ramp. So if this is the 2x6, what I'm going to do is I want to still cut off there, but leave like an inch or so. That way, as far as the bolts, when I put the bolts in to the pan, right, here's the rocker panel, or the heater channel, whatever you want to call it, I could put a piece of tube inside. That way I could use a deep well socket on a wrench to get it in and out, and it won't just be hanging out underneath. But the whole point is I want to end up kind of like that, right? And that way I have a nice flat bottom here. I don't know why it started to get important to me, but it is. So maybe it's so I can put a jack on it or something of that nature off-road, because if it was completely angled like that, where can you put a jack safely? You know what I'm saying? It just, I don't know. So I'm going to be out with that. I'm going to add the little couple inches or inch or so on the, keep a couple inches on the 2x6, and that should work for me. So with that as the plan, I cut out the part of the box that I was going to ramp. Then I cleaned the slag off the cuts and started installing the piece onto the bug. Or at least I tried to. I ended up having to clean the threads with a tap so the bolts would go in without a fuss. With the threads clean, the stock pan bolts went in quite easily. Alright, got the first piece put up. See, it's got some damage right there on the rocker, but it actually worked out pretty good. About an inch outside. And on the inside, there we go. Not bad. Not bad at all. While I was down there, I ended up chasing all the holes with the tap. Then I trimmed the new piece so that it'll match up with the second piece. Since I'm changing the design of the rockers, I ended up changing a few more things. So I figured out which lengths matched my modified design and cut it to size. Then I brought out the first piece and started lining things up. I started marking out the bolt holes, but decided to mock everything back up on the shell to ensure everything was right. I got the measurements I needed and transferred them to the box tube. Drilled out the mounting holes, marked the cut lines, then cut everything with the plasma. After the box cooled off, I mounted it to see if I screwed up anything. Alright guys, just doing a little bit more work on this. I'm trying to split this up between various appointments I've got, but anyway, I put that first piece on, as you guys saw, and then I put a second piece. And you can see I gotta trim that up a bit. It's gonna overhang. So let me go ahead and grab a Sharpie real fast and basically I just need to cut that off. Now I made it 4 inches longer than the piece that I wanted to, just to give a little more leg room. It means on the inside, as you can see, it's gonna go up here. I'm actually thinking I'm going to chop this right there, right where this plate is, cap it off, and all that other jazz. Alright, anyway, so as you can see, that little angle, I get some plate, just plate it like that. I wanted to keep it fairly tight, but maybe a little more leg room. Think about extending this out about a couple inches as well. Probably 5 inches all. This is like 30, so going to 35 will give me 2.5 inches. Short little piece right here should give me enough tire room for clearance, and if not, I'll just chop it out and plate it. It'll be a good reason to buy myself a bead rollers. I think I saw Eastwood have a sale on them for about $1.40. That plus a little motor for it, maybe $300. I'll have a bead roller and I can do all the tins in this thing. So just got to trim this up here and then put it back on, clean up all of the slag off of this, the cut, and then yeah. With that, the piece came off and I trimmed to the marks. Then I bolted it back on to see how it lined up. Alright guys, just trimmed it up and this is what it looks like. So I left a gap. I'm going to be able to fill that gap. I'm going to use the cutoff of this to kind of plate the bottom side just to give it a little bridge, and then I'll just fill that with weld and then smooth it all down, and so it'll be plenty strong. Plenty strong. As you can see, just going to go all the way down. This is not up against it like this side is, because underneath there you could see, I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, underneath there is like a broken bolt that I'll have to grind out or cut off or something of that nature, but no big deal. It's going to sit nice and flush, and it's going to grab all but one hole on this side. But anyway, okay, with that, it's just a bunch of cutting and welding, and basically I'm just going to crank that out. I want to respect your time. I'm not going to take you through the whole thing, but I'll basically do a recap and a time lapse on the next video. But in short, that's what the top portion of my pan is going to look like. In the next video, of course, I'm going to show it all be coming together. Then I'm going to be building the lower portion of the chassis, and hopefully everything works out. But that is going to be on the next video. So please like, subscribe, comment if you would. I would appreciate that. And I will see you on the next one. I'm Damien, and this is the Binder Builder.